The 1970s gave us velvet voices, slow-burning grooves, and unforgettable soul. But behind the spotlight, many stars faced battles the charts never showed. Johnny Ace's legacy echoed through Marvin Gaye's heartbreak ballads, while Donny Hathaway's genius met a tragic end. These are 15 soul voices from the 70s whose stories still haunt the heart of R&B. Number 15, the Masqueraders, harmony that faded in silence. In the early 70s, the Masqueraders seemed poised to be the next big thing. Hailing from Dallas, they'd honed their harmonies in Memphis under the mentorship of Isaac Hayes and Chips Moman at American Sound Studio. I don't need no friends at all. Their 1975 release, Everybody Wanna Live on High Records, should have been their breakthrough. It had the aching emotion of Southern soul and the polish of a Memphis groove. But timing was cruel.
If they wanted me, I'd have to say no.
As disco stormed the charts, labels shifted attention and High Records focused on acts like Al Green. The Masqueraders got lost in the shuffle. Fans still remember their haunting falsettos and raw ballads, but the group faded quietly, working odd jobs while their tapes collected dust. When they re-emerged decades later on America's Got Talent, it was a brief, beautiful reminder of their greatness, but also a painful echo of how the industry can forget even the most divine harmonies. And speaking of voices nearly lost to time, number 14, Sylvia, a label queen left behind.
Certified million seller entitled Pillow Talk, who is as lovely as she is talented. Let's get some hands together for Sylvia.
Sylvia Robinson was the quiet architect behind one of the most important moments in music history. Yet her own soulful legacy as a performer often gets overshadowed. In the 1970s, she scored a sultry hit with Pillow Talk, a bold, whispery groove that flirted with the edge of scandal and R&B sensuality. But behind the mic, Sylvia was also running the show. She founded Sugar Hill Records and helped birth hip-hop with Rapper's Delight, but the industry rarely gave her full credit. As the 70s closed, so did doors. Her solo career dwindled, and her contributions were often dismissed in a male-dominated business. She passed in 2011, celebrated mostly for her business role, but not enough for the slow-burning soul she once brought to life. A queen of quiet storms, too often left in silence. If that was power met with erasure, this next story is pure heartbreak from the very first note. Number 13, Major Harris, the falsetto that fell too soon.
With his latest single on Atlantic entitled Love Won't Let Me Wait, as he joins us for the first time as a solo performer, let's get some hands together, gang, for Mr. Major Harris.
You might remember his 1975 classic, Love Won't Let Me Wait. A tender, slow-burning jam that brought quiet storm energy to bedrooms across America. Major Harris, a member of the Delphonics family tree, had a falsetto that floated like incense smoke on a warm summer night.
I need your love so desperately.
But behind the voice was a man struggling to stay afloat in a shifting industry. After his hit, Harris couldn't land another chart climber. Label politics, poor management, and the rise of disco left him adrift. He toured relentlessly on the oldies circuit, often underpaid, barely recognized beyond that one haunting track. He died in 2012, still performing, still holding on to the magic, but far from the spotlight he once deserved. His was the kind of voice you don't forget, even if the industry tried to. And now, from falsettos to firebrands, this next artist fought harder than most to be heard. Number 12, Linda Jones, the voice that soared, then vanished. In the late 60s and early 70s, Linda Jones was the voice of gospel-drenched soul. Her 1972 hit Hypnotized showcased her explosive delivery. You want me to go on, a powerhouse vocal full of grit, pain, and spirit. Signed to Neptune and later Turbo Records, she was seen as a rising star who could rival Aretha. But Linda battled a lifelong struggle with diabetes, a condition often misunderstood and poorly managed in the era. Tragically, in 1972, shortly after a performance, she fell into a diabetic coma and passed away at just 27 years old. Her death stunned fans and peers. There was no tabloid drama, just quiet grief for a voice silenced far too soon. In a better world, Linda Jones would have headlined soul festivals for decades. Instead, we remember her through the wails and whispers on those rare, raw recordings. And if Linda's story tugged your heart, wait until you hear the tale of a singer whose pain was hidden behind a smile. Number 11, Al Wilson, a smooth crooner swept away.
Sound, so profound, so profound.
Al Wilson's show and tell became an R&B and pop sensation in 1973, earning gold and cementing him as a staple on late-night radio. His silky baritone, emotional phrasing, and California cool stage presence made him an instant favorite. But the industry, once again, was fickle. Follow-up records lacked major label backing, and changing musical tastes pushed Wilson to the side.
These are the eyes that never knew how to smile.
Despite continuing to record and perform, his success never matched that early peak. Behind the scenes, he battled illness and frustration, watching lesser talents rise while his career stalled.
Seeking refuge.
He died in 2008 from kidney failure, largely forgotten by mainstream media. But his songs still live on in quiet storm playlists and wedding receptions, whispering his name to those who truly remember. But nothing, and I mean nothing, will prepare you for the pain behind this next name. Number 10, Walter Jackson. Strength in every note, despite what the world saw.
Darling,
Walter Jackson's voice had everything: power, vulnerability, control. From his Chicago roots, he recorded with Columbia and later OK Records, blending deep soul with pop finesse. But few knew that as a child, Walter was struck by polio, leaving him with lifelong mobility challenges. Instead of sympathy, he got resistance. Labels unsure how to market a disabled artist, bookings lost due to accessibility issues. Still, he delivered breathtaking ballads like It's All Over and feelings that could reduce an entire room to tears. But Jackson's health complications caught up with him, and he died of a cerebral hemorrhage in 1983. The tragedy isn't just that we lost him young.
it's over and done.
It's that we never gave him the full flowers he deserved while he was here. If Walter's story was soul in the face of struggle, this next artist was fire extinguished far too soon. Number 9, Betty Wright, the cleanup woman who cleaned up everyone but herself. Betty Wright came in hot with Cleanup Woman in 1971, a funky, fiery anthem that made her a star at just 17. She wasn't just singing about heartbreak, she was schooling a generation. By the mid-70s, she was producing, mentoring, and innovating in ways few women were allowed. But while she lifted others, like a young Joss Stone and even Beyoncé, her own career was often minimized.
We but be a mama with the kids and you the one in the sheets, no pay.
Radio cooled, labels shifted, and Betty poured herself into indie work. She battled cancer quietly in later years and passed in 2020. It wasn't just her death that hurt. It was how few realized how deep her influence ran. A true soul pioneer, forever underrated. Number 8, Brenda and the Tabulations. Sweet soul, eclipsed by change. Brenda Payton's voice was something special, light, vulnerable, and brimming with emotion. With her group, the Tabulations, she carved out a space in the late 60s and early 70s Philadelphia soul scene. Their 1971 hit Right on the Tip of My Tongue was tender soul poetry, wrapped in strings and aching harmonies. But Philly soul was evolving fast. Bigger acts like the OJs and Teddy Pendergrass began dominating, and Brenda's soft style slowly got buried. Behind the scenes, she struggled with label changes and shifting group lineups. By the mid-70s, the group faded from airwaves, and Brenda retreated from the spotlight. She passed away in 1992, only 46 years old. Her story reminds us how unforgiving the machine can be. Even for voices that once stopped time on a summer night drive with the radio up. If that was delicate beauty left behind, this next tale is raw brilliance swallowed by darkness. Number 7, Donny Hathaway, the genius who heard too much.
You can love, trust, and understand.
Donny Hathaway's voice could melt stone. Whether on A Song for You or Someday We'll All Be Free, his sound was both celestial and deeply human. But behind that warmth was a man battling demons, severe mental illness that would shadow his career.
Wait for a man to carry on.
In the 70s, Hathaway's collaborations with Roberta Flack brought acclaim, but his personal struggles with paranoid schizophrenia grew worse. He often feared people were trying to harm him, even during recording sessions. In January 1979, he was found dead outside the Essex House Hotel in New York. An apparent suicide. He was only 33. It was a loss that stunned the soul world. So much brilliance, gone so soon. And yet, Donny's spirit remains.
Is that any way for a man to carry on?
Through samples, tributes, and every time someone closes their eyes and lets his voice wash over them like Sunday morning light. If these classics from the 70s are bringing back memories, give this video a thumbs up. It helps us keep the soul alive. And stick around. We've still got 6 more timeless voices whose stories deserve to be heard. Number 6, Bobby Womack, the survivor who paid the price. Bobby Womack lived 10 lifetimes in one. A protege of Sam Cooke, his songwriting brilliance and gravel soul delivery made across 110th Street and hairy hippie staples of 70s Black America.
Drinking that good gin, champagne and wine.
But behind the hits was chaos, drug addiction, personal tragedy, and controversy. After marrying Cooke's widow just months after Sam's death, Bobby was vilified. Though his music endured, his reputation suffered. In the 70s, he battled cocaine, lost his infant son, and alienated industry allies. But he kept recording, pouring pain into every note. His songs became urban anthems, truthful, unvarnished, unforgettable. Though he had a late career revival, Bobby's health deteriorated. He passed in 2014, having walked through fire to share his truth.
I think he really trusts me too much.
His story is tragic, But his legacy? Pure soul survival. And speaking of soul survivors, this next voice carried a whole city sound, yet never got his due. Number 5, Howard Tate, lost to addiction, reborn too late.
You now that Randy Newman made famous, and it's a song called Louisiana.
Howard Tate was once a name you couldn't ignore. Produced by the legendary Jerry Ragavoy, his 70s recordings like Get It While You Can were fiery, gospel-soaked R&B at its finest.
Baby, it's your turn to play.
Janis Joplin even covered him. But despite the acclaim, Tate struggled with substance abuse and slipped into obscurity. For decades, he vanished, working odd jobs, even experiencing homelessness. Most assumed he died. But in the early 2000s, he made a miraculous return. Clean.
I had a good woman, but I didn't.
Clear-eyed and still possessing that mighty voice, Tate recorded again and toured with new vigor. Sadly, it was a comeback few noticed. He passed in 2011, his second chance only briefly lit before going dark again. Howard Tate was a masterclass in soul and a cautionary tale in how easily the industry throws away its treasures.
When you love somebody.
But what happens when the industry doesn't just forget you? What if it never even gave you a real chance? Number 4, Zulema. Talent that never found a home. Zulema Kuso was a powerhouse vocalist, first with Faith, Hope and Charity, then as a solo act. Her 1975 release, Wanna Be Where You Are, had everything. Vocal finesse, disco flair, and R&B roots. She even performed on Soul Train and opened for Aretha. But Zulema never had stable label support. She bounced between companies, RCA, Sussex, LaBelle's Group, and could never find a team that truly backed her. Her music straddled too many lanes for the box the industry wanted her in. She eventually stepped away from recording and lived a quieter life in Tampa, passing in 2013.
So I won't try to, you can make me do what.
Zulema deserved so much more. Her talent stood shoulder to shoulder with the best of her era. But her story reminds us, soul music was never just about chart positions. It was about fire, spirit, and that intangible something you felt deep in your chest. Number 3, Billy Preston, the 5th Beatle who lost his way.
Do you want to be entertained? All right.
Billy Preston was more than a sideman. He was the secret sauce behind some of the biggest records in history. From his church-trained keys on Get Back with the Beatles to Outer Space and Will It Go Round in Circles, he brought funk, fire, and feeling wherever he played. But the industry knew how to celebrate him as long as he stayed in the background. As a solo artist in the 70s, he delivered bangers, but struggled with identity, management troubles, and a personal life full of pain. He battled addiction, financial abuse, and the trauma of childhood sexual assault, which he rarely spoke about. By the late 80s, Preston was in and out of jail. His health collapsed in the 2000s, and he passed away in 2006, largely forgotten outside music circles.
Have a good time. Let's have a good time.
For someone who literally helped build the sound of modern pop, soul, and rock, it's a heartbreak to see how little credit he got. From one keyboard wizard to another, this next legend was a voice of resistance until the silence took him. Number 2, Curtis Mayfield, the prophet struck down.
A great big expression of happiness.
Curtis Mayfield wasn't just a singer, he was a prophet. From People Get Ready with the Impressions to his solo Superfly soundtrack, Curtis gave Black America its voice of pride, protest, and poetic defiance.
Everybody's misused him, ripped him up and abused.
His falsetto wasn't just smooth, it was powerful, visionary. But in 1990, tragedy struck. While performing in Brooklyn, a lighting rig fell on Curtis mid-show, leaving him paralyzed from the neck down.
People are beautiful people, well there's only one kind.
Incredibly, he still recorded, lying flat on his back, using only his voice, his hands frozen, but his spirit intact. He passed in 1999, but his later years were full of pain, struggle, and a quiet sidelining by the industry that once hailed him.
Just think of Fred.
It's a sorrowful end for one of soul's most essential voices, a man who gave everything and asked for so little in return. But even Curtis would bow his head for the story at number one. Number one, David Ruffin, the voice that broke the Temptations and himself.
Mr. David Ruffin.
David Ruffin was the Temptations' soul. That raw, raspy, pleading lead on My Girl, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, I Wish It Would Rain. Nobody sang pain like David, but the 70s were cruel to him.
It's not that I don't love you.
After being ousted from the group in 1968 due to ego clashes and missed shows, Ruffin's solo career had sparks. Walk Away from Love in 1975 was a hit, but never matched the fire he had with the Temps.
It's just a fear that builds within me.
He battled severe cocaine addiction, legal troubles, and a heart heavy with regret. In 1991, he died of a drug overdose in a Philadelphia crack house. The industry turned its back long before then. Ruffin was only 50, but looked far older. The tragedy isn't just how he died, but that he knew how far he'd fallen and how much he still wanted to be remembered. David Ruffin's story is the heartbreak at the core of 1970s R&B. Talent unmatched, pain unshakable, legacy unforgettable. From label neglect to personal demons, these artists remind us that behind every sweet harmony and burning groove was a human story, rich with joy, but often tinged with tragedy. Thanks for joining us on this Soul Stroll. Subscribe to keep the groove alive and never miss our next countdown. Up next, 15 forgotten one-hit R&B wonders from the 60s. Click that video and let's keep the rhythm rolling.